side of the roof, and I just cut it into pieces. The exit to get into the bus. Little generator that we bought used off of somebody. Keep it super cold in the summertime and hot in the winter. I'm Ryan. And Paisley.
I'm Paisley.
Okay, and this is your motorhome?
Yeah. So this is our 1998 International school bus that we turned into a full-time home for us, into an RV.
We say 98 body, 2017 build. So we built it in 2017.
Yep.
How many miles it's had when you got?
So when we got it, it was around like 100,000 miles.
And it's diesel.
Yeah, and it's diesel. It's a turbo diesel. It runs good. We just kept the oil changed and all that kind of stuff. But we probably put 10,000 miles on it in the past couple of years, in the past 2 years, and it's worked out good for us. It's meant to haul a lot of kids, so the little bit of weight that we have in there for our stuff doesn't really affect the engine too much.
Okay, I was always curious. Do you know MPG?
Miles per gallon?
Miles per gallon.
Yeah. So for these, it's like 9 or 10 miles per gallon.
Yeah, it's actually good. My motorhome has around 8, but it's gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, if you're not, the way we work is we travel to different places that pay for us to work for them, but also give us a free camp spot called work camping. So there's a bunch of campgrounds and amusement parks and stuff that, and Amazon, where you can work for them for a couple of months. They'll give you a spot to camp, and then they'll pay you as well. So that's kind of our justification for spending the money on the diesel to drive around, because it takes, you know, a couple $100s to fill the tank up. But if you got work lined up where you're going, then it's not so bad to spend the money when you have to drive around.
Cool. And can you a little bit explain what did you do here?
Yeah, so
Any modifications? It was standard empty.
it was just a regular school bus. We bought it from somebody that had already taken all the seats and everything out of there. But so yeah, we stripped all the metal from the inside, put in new insulation, put up new walls, ceilings, ran electrical and plumbing. So we have a freshwater tank underneath of our sink. And then we've got a shower and a toilet that are across from each other, and then 2 utility closets in our bedroom.
Solar.
And we've got 2 solar panels on the roof and 2 batteries in the utility closet to keep the refrigerator running when we're on the road is the main reason that we have the solar.
And the refrigerator, it's on propane or just electric?
Just electric. The propane ones are very expensive. They're
Yeah, I know.
you know, $1,000 for one that does propane and electric. And the refrigerator that we got was like $100. And then the solar setup.
But you have to spend some money on inverter and batteries
Yeah,
to run it on road.
yeah. That's the thing is, so it was still probably like $600-700 for the solar setup and $100 for the refrigerator. But we can use the solar for other things, lights and laptops and stuff if we have to when we're not connected. But the main purpose was just to run a refrigerator, which is still a nice thing when you're going down the road. You don't have to worry about all your food going bad. And then we've got awning on the outside, so you can pull this out and it'll give you a nice shaded area.
I have the same.
Yeah, and then 2 rooftop ACs. And the front one does heat as well, but we usually just use a little space heater because they're a little bit more effective. And then we've got a gray water tank on the other side that we hung underneath there. And we use the metal from the roof, from the inside of the roof, to build the hanging bracket for the gray water tank
You have
underneath.
1 or 2 black and 2 gray?
No, so the black we just have hooked up to the sewer. So it's just kind of like a park model motorhome. So we don't really use the toilet on the road, but we don't really travel that often just in here. So when we're on the road, we can just use.
And I saw that many people, they just turn off black tank and use 2 tanks like a gray, and they use a toilet, it's called bio toilet, and they use something like a compost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some people that have the nature head and all that, and the composting toilet, which is something that we'll probably do in the future. We just haven't really.
I saw Amazon, they're not expensive, just a plastic thing, but it's a very tricky ways how to catch everything and right.
That's the thing, is you have to keep it all separated for that to work. And it's yeah, there's a lot of tricky setups. Some people have made it work with just a bucket and a funnel, and but yeah, if you want to swing around the other side, I'll show you.
Can we first of all walk around and?
There it is. And like I said, if you look underneath, you can see where I built the mounting bracket. I just reused the metal that was inside the ceiling that was skinning the inside of the roof, and I just cut it into pieces and riveted it together, and it holds my gray water tank. And I used some all thread, you know, looks like a bolt, but it's just all thread to hang it underneath of there. Then we've got our cable, and I got to tangle it up to keep the cat from getting into it when it's out.
Heated.
And then that's the heated water hose, yeah.
But what about if it will be cold weather? What about gray tank?
Yeah, underneath of there, I put a tank warming pad. So there's a 12-volt pad underneath it here that's glued to the bottom of it.
Good idea.
And yeah, because we were in Kentucky 2 years ago working for Amazon, and our tank froze. So I kind of had to do it.
It sucks.
Because I had to do it, you know. So it was already cold out, and I just, you know. But we got it underneath there, and it's powered to the inside. So we only have to hook that up in the water when it's cold. And then the propane line just connects right here, so that way when we're driving, you can disconnect it, and I have a plug to go in here to keep stuff from getting in it, and take the tank and put it on the back. And then, like I said, the black line runs out from the other side. So that's the old emergency exit to get into the bus, and this is underneath of our bed. So our bedroom, our mattress goes all the way up to the wall here and goes over, but then on the other side of that wall is where like our clothes and stuff are inside the bus, and then out here is just kind of my tool shed area. And then we've got a tow dolly on our hitch, a tow dolly to pull our car with, and so that way when we're traveling, we can all ride on the bus together. And then we've got the double hitch, so we can have this accessory part on top of there. And then since we've got a generator underneath of this thing, we wanted to keep the weight from pushing the trailer part down, so we ran again all thread through here, and that way it's not just resting on that one little bar. It keeps it from rocking and stuff when we're driving.
How many watts generator?
I think it's only like 2,000, 3,000.
But it's enough for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just an old little generator that we used off of somebody, and yeah, it works for what we need it for. But, and we tinted the windows and put on the little rainbow reflective stuff there, but some of the tint is in worse shape. You want to take a look real quick? So we've got, this is the Reflectix that we use for the windows to keep it insulated. So there's foam board and the Reflectix, and they're cut to fit just into the windows, so to keep it super cold in the summertime and hot in the winter. But yeah, so we've got two couches that fold out into beds, and there's a little stuff stored underneath of them as well, and our little sewing area, the kitchen. And we just got a little Instant Pot set up as well, and a refrigerator that we use off the solar when we're not plugged in. Underneath the sink is a gray water or a freshwater tank, and a water filter in the back, and the water pump is in here as well. And it's all, and the water inlet comes in from this area. So pretty much all the water's in there except for what runs over to the shower. So the water comes from over there at the sink and runs into here, feeds to the shower, which is on this same wall, and the tankless hot water heater
It's an instant heat. It's not tankless.
Yeah, and it's a ventless one, so it has a sensor to where it can tell if there's not enough oxygen in the area, and it'll shut off automatically. So like if you leave the curtain closed, it'll turn off if you run it for a minute, but it's right next to our roof vent, so we just open it up and it vents out. And then the shower doubles as a cat box for the litter box when we're not using it. But then that goes into the gray tank as well, and then we've got just a little RV toilet, and then the bedroom. So like I said, that back wall that we looked at when we were outside the bus is this wall right here. So my tools and stuff are kind of underneath of this half of the bed, and then we just got totes for our clothes underneath of the bed. And it works out pretty good. Full queen size bed, so we've got plenty of room because I'm a big guy. And then we've got the rooftop AC back here in the bedroom and one in the living room.
That's a big area.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a lot of room. It's good for 2 people.
And I think big question, how much?
So, with everything included, probably like 15,000. We bought the bus for 5, and it had some materials that came with it, but not a lot that we ended up reusing. But I was lucky enough to get. I used to work at an RV shop that did repairs on RVs, so I got the awning for free, and I got both of the rooftop ACs for free, and the gray tank.
Yeah, to AC they're expensive.
Yeah, so I mean, if you were to include the cost of those things, it'd probably be like 18,000, maybe everything included. But
actually, did you compare, for example, build this one or buy used one?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely were thinking whether or not we just get a travel trailer to pull with us. And then we would have to buy a truck as well because we only had a little car or a van at the time, so we couldn't pull the trailer. So yeah, I mean, decent used travel trailer would have been probably 8,000 to 10,000, and then a truck would have been another couple thousand. Our main reason, we're already set on the bus because we like the metal, we like the safety of it, we like that they're maintained with the school system. So they're always changing the oil, keeping up everything maintained. But our big thing was we could spend $1,000 to rent an apartment each month, probably more after everything. But over a year, that's $12,000 that you're spending to rent an apartment from somebody. So we figured we could do that, or we could spend $12,000 into the bus, and that way we would have a home that we could always own.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I like that it's how I said, motorhome, standard motorhome. It will be standard. Yeah, but this one's unique.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Yeah, that's the other big thing is I know where everything is. I know where all the wires run. I know how the water's set up. I know that I use the parts that I would like to use because sometimes, even on the nice motorhomes, they use cheap stuff, or they have them just crazy because the guys that build them are just building them and building them and building them.
And what about registration of this?
Yeah, so we.
Any tricky stuff because of modified school bus?
Kind of. We got it worked out good with South Carolina. It just took a while because they lost our paperwork. But when we bought it originally, it was still titled as a bus. And then we ended up getting pictures of everything that we did, having all the receipts for everything that we bought, from every screw and appliance and everything that we bought. And in South Carolina, we had to have a police officer come over, or like a government official come over, to verify that it had a living room, toilet, bed, sink. There's like a list of like 8 things, and you have to have 5 of them for it to be considered a motorhome. So they came over, checked off the list, and then we sent the paperwork in,
And right now it's registered not like a school bus, like a motorhome.
It's registered as a motorhome, yeah. And we had it insured as a motorhome even before it was registered as a motorhome, which took a little bit of legwork because you can't just call up Progressive and say, hey, I got a school bus that I want to insure as a motorhome. It's easier, I find, if you walk into a branch, a local office, and talk to the person there, because they usually can make things a little easier than trying to get somebody on a call center. So they're pretty much just weights on the end of a string that you can spin around, and gives you something fun to put your mind towards, to figure out how to do the different patterns and all that kind of stuff. Takes a lot of coordination and a lot of practice, but
Looks not easy.
yeah. And you can do it on fire, and we have LED ones, and it's just a fun activity, kind of like juggling, to just keep your mind active. And it's nice when it's good weather and not raining for 3 months.